What's up, guys? Today we're going to be taking a super in-depth look at the Texas Eye Jig by iStrike Fishing paired with the Diezel MinnowZ by Z-Man. This combination has become hands down my favorite combination to throw when sight fishing for redfish. I use it in so many different other applications in my fishing here in North Carolina as well as Louisiana and other places, but it is all I've had tied on this summer, and it has been doing extremely well. I've been super impressed, and I just love all the iStrike products in general, but this Texas Eye is hands down my favorite jig to throw for these redfish that we have here, belly crawling, tailing, and all that. It's a very weedless bait, and so talking with Dave and Ralph over at iStrike, they developed this bait to be able to fish, fresh water, salt water, kind of across the board. But they do a lot of trout fishing in heavy cover. This Texas Eye really does well in heavy cover. It's super weedless, and you can make it more weedless by the way you rig the bait, and we'll kind of jump into that in the video a little bit. But it is just an incredible bait, and they developed this bait. Texas Eye kind of came from the idea of a Texas rig. This bait does fish a lot like a Texas rig, and you'll see that in this underwater footage that we've got today, especially with the Z-Man that floats. And so the hook articulates off the head, and so that bait's able to float. And I was already expecting to really enjoy seeing this bait work under the water, but was definitely blown away by seeing it in this really clean water and how it worked with light twitches and heavier twitches, and even just a straight retrieve swimming it through the water. The head wobbles really nicely, and the bait kind of followed the way that Diezel MinnowZ tail kicks follows that rotation of the head very well. It looks really uniform and nice together. But the one thing that I wasn't even expecting that I was the most excited about and excited to tell you all about, I immediately called Dave at iStrike and was like, dude, this is amazing. I don't know if y'all knew about this, but this is definitely something that needs to be told. And so that's why I'm doing this video. So the hook articulates off the back of that head. So there's like a little D-ring on the back of the head, and the hook's in there, and then you have your bait on that worm hook off the back. And one thing I noticed when I had my buddy up on the edge of the pool working the bait while I was underwater filming it, every time he twitched that bait, it would make a little tick noise where the hook and the head were popping each other, hitting each other, and making this little click, this little tick noise like a shrimp. I was just amazed by that, and now that I know that jig's making that noise, a lot of the fish that I've seen eat this jig make a lot more sense, because I've definitely myself, as well as with my clients, made some bad casts on fish and jigged that bait a little bit and had fish turn around to come eat it. And a lot of times you feel like, oh, that fish felt that bait, but some of the fish were turning around from pretty good distances, 2, 3, 4, even 5 feet sometimes, to eat that jig. And I really contribute that now to the fact that it's making that little popping noise. I think those fish hear that, they key in on it, they think it's shrimp popping or a little bait fish popping, and they turn around and come eat it. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. We're gonna really jump in and do some rigging, how I like to rig the bait onto the hook and onto that Texas Eye, as well as different ways to fish it in the water, different ways that have been effective to me. So you're gonna see all that in this video. But take a look, hope you enjoy it. So here we're jigging this Texas Eye, and very little movements with the rod tip. I think one thing that you notice once you get in the water and you actually see how high that jig's lifting up off the bottom with even just 4 to 6 inch pops of your rod tip, if you're swinging that rod tip too hard, that bait's going to be jumping way higher, which sometimes you might want that, but a lot of times the fish I'm targeting are down there on the bottom. So just little taps with the rod tips, all you need to get that bait to lift up and perform correctly underwater. The straight retrieve here on the Texas Eye looks really nice. I love how that head wobbles back and forth in unison with the tail on that Diezel MinnowZ. It's just a really cool partnership between the two. They work really well together. It looks like that paddle tail was designed to fish on that jig head. So last but certainly not least, we need to talk about how to rig the iStrike Texas Eye with the Z-Man Diezel MinnowZ. So we're gonna go over that now. I'm gonna grab one of these baits out of here and jump into it. So the front of the bait's here, and then the trick with these worm hooks is knowing how much to go through at the front. So I'm gonna take the point of the hook, I'm gonna flip this over to the belly. This is the belly of the bait. This is the top of the bait with this dorsal fin here. I'm gonna flip it over to the belly, and I'm gonna take the point of this hook, and I'm gonna come in, center line of the bait, and then come up through this little gap, this little slot that they've given you in the belly of this bait right here. There's a little slot. I'm gonna bring that hook out of there. So now my bait's on there like this. What I'm gonna do now is slide it up and over that little hook keeper on the top of the hook there. So now it's up here, it's locked into place. We just got one more step, and that's putting this hook into the bait here. You can catch fish after fish, and a lot of times that bait's not even gonna come off that hook keeper. It's a really well designed hook keeper. But this is the most important part. This keeps your bait swimming correctly. You wanna line up the back of the hook with the body of the bait here is to know exactly where to punch that point through. So we know it's about right here, just in front of the tail end of this dorsal fin. So I'm going to flip the bait over, push it through, and slide it up. And there we have it. Perfectly rigged, weedless. You can throw that up in the grass, you can throw it on the oysters, and it's super weedless. When that fish eats it, that bait slides down and that hook's exposed. So it fishes really well like that, but that's how I rig the Texas Eye. Obviously I'll tie a loop knot, usually a tarpon loop or a canoe man loop knot off the front of this hook here. Give it a little bit more action, a little bit more play, but that is how you rig the Diezel Minnow from Z-Man with the Texas Eye from iStrike. Well guys, I hope you like this video. This is, like I said, my favorite bait to throw for redfish in shallow water, but you also catch me throwing it for flounder, you'll catch me throwing it for trout, the Texas Eye as well as that Z-Man Diezel Minnow. If you're not fishing it, you definitely need to get some Texas Eyes in your boat, in your tackle bag, in your bank bag, and definitely start using them. They're great baits, very versatile, very weedless, like I was saying. But yeah, thanks guys for checking out the video. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, subscribe to the channel, press the like button, send me any comments on Instagram, Facebook, or here on YouTube. And I look forward to the next video. See you then. Peace.